If you have had vertigo from BPPV, you know how miserable it is, and of course you want to prevent another attack from occurring. With BPPV reoccurrence rate being 10 to 30% of people in the first year, and within 10 years as high as 50%, of course, you want to know what you can do to prevent another attack. In today's video, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We are discussing what you can do today to reduce your risk of having another BPPV attack. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Amy McMillan. I am a vestibular physical therapist in Northeast Ohio, and I have this channel to offer tips and tricks for people who want to be able to treat dizziness at home. With that, let's get started. We know one risk factor is having low vitamin D. So people with low vitamin D levels are actually more inclined to developing BPPV. So there was a recent study in 2020 by Zhang et al. In this study, people with low vitamin D serum levels found by a blood draw with their practitioner were then given vitamin D plus calcium. It was 400 IUs of vitamin D plus calcium, 500 milligrams at 2 times a day. That study group with the vitamin D plus calcium showed a decreased incidence of developing recurrence of BPPV. So with your practitioner, if you look at your vitamin D levels, as long as it's not contraindicated with any other conditions that you may have, always check with your provider first. Supplementing your diet with vitamin D and calcium may actually prevent BPPV attacks. The second thing that you can do is maintain proper hydration levels. There was a study in 2022 that came out asking if there was a link between inadequate water intake and developing vestibular disorders. And the answer was yes. BPPV, neuronitis, vestibular migraines were in the top 3 when looking at developing vestibular symptoms. So how much water should you drink? Another study by Jormius et al. Actually was able to quantify how much water that you should take. They found that people that drank about 7 cups were inadequate hydration and could have increased risk of dizziness. But when they upped their intake to 15 cups a day of water, then that actually decreased the risk of having BPPV and other vestibular disorders. So make sure that you're drinking in the neighborhood of 15 cups a day if you want to reduce your risk of developing a BPPV attack. The third risk factor and link that we know we have control of is maintaining proper cholesterol levels. There was a study looking at BPP reoccurrence rates in different groups with comorbidities or different conditions. They found that people with high cholesterol actually had the highest rate of BPPV reoccurrence. That was able to demonstrate the link between not having enough blood flow up to the ear and having poor ear health, leading to the stones or crystals to degrade and easily fall out into the canals. So what are we going to do? We're going to try to decrease our cholesterol with these holistic measures that you can start implementing today. Start with eating a high fiber diet, including items like oatmeal, bran, and beans. Try to eat more of a plant-based diet, including more vegetables, fruits, less or no red meat, less or no shrimp, and consider switching your meats to lean proteins like chicken, turkey, and fatty fish like mackerel, salmon, or tuna. 2 other things that can help to reduce cholesterol are stopping smoking and then increase your activity, maybe starting a walking program, both of which are great for any vestibular condition, not only preventing BPPV. My 4th tip in preventing BPPV attacks is when you're going to the dentist or beauty salon. That's where I can trace a lot of my patients' BPPV to going to those 2 services. So at the dentist and the beauty salon, if you think of it, you are put in a position where you are kind of laying back and your head is kind of pointing up towards the ceiling. And I always tell my patients, maybe you have a stone that is not lodged in that vestibule and could easily fall out. And if you go to a position or a service where you're laying flat on your back, you kind of use common sense, that stone could then fall into the canal and cause BPPV. So when you're going to the dentist or the beauty salon, I always advise this tip. And this is not backed by science, this is just anecdotal, it's worked for my patients and I wanna share this with you. So when you're going to the beauty salon or when you're going to the dentist, Tell them that you have a history of vertigo and that you can't lay with your head with your nose up to 90 degrees. 45 should be fine, and this is what that looks like. So if you are lying to get your hair done and your nose is here, that's 45 degrees, everything should be good. If you look up and your nose is to the ceiling, that's where things can dump out. So that is my tip, is make sure if you're looking at the nose in this plane, 45 is okay, or 90 degrees, it can dump out. So when working with your providers, see if they can make sure that you don't lay below horizontal, and super conservatively not to lie past that 45-degree mark. And that should be able to reduce your risk for BPPV. The fifth tip that I have, again, this is not backed by science, it is anecdotal, it is work for my patients and common sense. So when you lay in bed at night and you're flat or using one pillow, I want you to be comfortable for sure. I don't want you to get neck pain or headaches. But when you wake up in the morning, if you simply tip your nose down 20 to 30 degrees like this, sitting at the edge of the bed, and you wait 30 to 60 seconds, if there was a crystal that went out in the middle of the night into that horizontal canal, gravity will actually lend itself to slide it back in. So it only takes 30 to 60 seconds. It's just a habit that I tell my patients to get into, just in case. If anything happened in the middle of the night, you tip your nose down, it'll slide right back in, preventing future BPPV attacks. So hopefully you found those tips helpful. Maybe these are things you already know, or maybe they're brand new. But my goal is to make sure that you are less dizzy, less often, having as few BPPV attacks as we can possibly have for you.